This song has been in my head for probably 5 or 10 minutes straight before even opening up with this message today. And I know it's a part of the reading that we have. And it starts with, I'm sure we all know this song, right? It's the one where the guy's like, come with me. And you'll be in a world of your imagination. I'm seeing that for you, where as far as you can imagine, that's the version of self that you're remote viewing. It's a version of you that you're remote viewing. If you can imagine that version of you, that's the one that you're collapsing. And that's quantum physics, right? Quantum physics suggests that nothing exists until you observe it. So what if the version of you that has been struggling or has had a really hard time on, I'm hearing, getting things started or even taking initiative or seeing the results that you desire to translate into a physical, tangible experience is the only one that you've been collapsing, right? What if you were focusing or observing the one that was limitless, the one that was abundant, the one that had more than enough resources? I'm hearing the resources just fall into your lap and find you. What if it was the compassionate version of yourself? Well, that one already exists beyond your current focus. What if you just shifted until one day that version of self was the one that would become your new normal? That would be the one that you collapse through space-time and you're a living embodiment of. That's what I'm seeing. Now, you have 3 messages that came through. Now, the first one, where do we start? The first one, I guess, is the magician, right? So this is the magician right here in this deck. He's called the crow, and we'll dive deep into that. I'm seeing this is something that's becoming natural for you to become a conduit and actually streamline these alternate versions of self. And that's just you embracing your multidimensionality. And we'll talk about the difference of multidimensionality and being interdimensional probably in another reading. But living in multiple dimensions is like you being able to access different versions of yourself through space-time. And interdimensional is your ability to navigate between those dimensions consciously. So like you're very conscious of when you're tuning into the version of you that is struggling or feels like it's in a lack mindset, and then being able to observe that version of self. And the moment that you observe that version of self, you instantly create a gap or a glitch in the matrix where you end up, I'm seeing glitching into like the version of self that's looking at that one. But not judging it, but just observing it just neutrally so that you're aware of what your current vibration is and the things in which you're calling in. They're always in alignment with that, right? Because reality is going to reinforce your internal state of being. Anyway, that's like a whole thing. But we have the magician, and then we also have the 8 of swords. And we all know the 8 of swords, right? If you don't, it's essentially, here it's translated as a tornado, right? But it's usually this person, and they are stuck in this internal web, okay? And it talks about being stuck in the prison of the mind and feeling as if you cannot access something, or something is unable to access you during this time. I'm seeing it as an experience or opportunity or something like that, where it appears like there's a block, but the universe is always abundant. The only lack that exists is within the mind, and that's what this card talks about. And then you also have the veil. So the veil is the star card energy. So we'll go ahead and actually dive deep into each one of these. But I see it as you're aligning yourself with a higher reality. And in order to do that, you must become the higher version of yourself that is a vibrational match to that version of reality. Because when you begin to embody, and you might want to look at the transcendent teaching that we did on, quantum jumping. I believe it was, the multiversal self, and the one in which you want to collapse into form, because I dive really deep into that and what that looks like, and actually being able to study that version of yourself and then streamline those behaviors, those instincts, those thoughts, those emotions. And reality is like, whoa, what's going on? And I'm seeing that happen for you, where it's like, oh, you have changed your signal, right? Enter your name. Well, you have changed your signal. And I just got a notification as well, like it's time to stand up. And you could be taking a stand for things that you previously kind of, I'm hearing, seated back on. And I see it as being seated now in the driver's seat in your life rather than just a passenger. And said you're no longer a passive observer of your life, but you're a conscious co-creator, where you're consciously guiding your life towards your chosen destination, because you're becoming lucid in the construct that you reside in. Now, your dream landscape is changing, right? Reality is reconfiguring, reassembling, and responding to your internal transformation. And the transformation is just being seated in this place of remembrance of, oh, I expand and extend far beyond what these current limitations may seem to be. So when we talk about the magician, right? The magician here, he is an observer. He's a master observer. So you can see here he is. He understands that reality responds to focus and that your attention directs energy, and what you hold in awareness becomes form. So you're choosing which version of self you want to bring and collapse from potential into reality. Then you have the star card, right? So the star card in this deck is also known as the veil. So I'm seeing this as the veil becoming very, very thin. The veil comes in, or the star card comes in after a tower moment, and the tower had to crumble and fall. And I'm hearing this is old ways of seeing or feeling or thinking about yourself or your potential on this planet to reveal what was always there. The star card was always there. Okay, again, it's like, here we go with the light. Let's get you back on, okay? To see things clearly, for you to see the glowing that was always there. Now, the star card is the version of you that you're being invited to observe. So you have the magician, and then you have the star card, right? So this is the version of self that you're being called to observe right now. This is you. Instead of observing this version of self, right? We're playing a little bit of, what's it called? It's just being a bit theatrical. So you've been observing this version of self, the one that is stuck, the one that feels like they're struggling inside of their own internal, mind palace. And you're being called to begin to entertain this version of self, the one that is flourishing, the one that has, abundance, limitless timelines, that's extremely open, that trust the field within their own limitless flow. This is a wishes fulfilled card. We'll even go ahead and read it, but the star card is someone that is not forcing any kind of manifestation. Instead, you become the frequency that naturally allows manifestation to express itself through you, because you're very open to what that looks like. Now, let's speak about the Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords is essentially the lower octave of yourself, and it's the collapsed version of self that you've observed that says, I'm stuck, oh, I can't move, or this is who I am. But in truth, it's just a repeated observation loop. So from that neutral point of the magician, it's not that you're trying to become a new version of self. Instead, you're choosing which version of self that you want to collapse into next. If that's where your attention goes, then that's where energy flows, and that's what the physical manifestation that will follow. Okay? Now, let's talk about these three archetypes, and they are all, for the most part, if you notice, the magician and the veil are major arcanas. So this is huge themes in life, like huge chapters, it's initiations, whereas this is a minor arcana, which is just a small story or octave of ourself that moves through us, but we can misidentify with when we unconsciously become it. Okay, I feel like it's about becoming conscious, so conscious of the unconscious repeated thoughts and emotions that move through your field until you observe and remember that they're not you. Like, it's not you, it's not your whole. It may be a very localized version. So the magician is the crow. This talks about, as if from nothing, the crow materializes emerald green ribbons of light that shimmer around the crows as it carries death away on its back. The crow flies with certainty, and it understands that there is an appropriate direction to all things. That which comes must eventually go. While the crow may seem small, it is the magician, manifesting in a very strong energy within, right? So that you can see him shifting from the crow to the magician. The crow teaches us how to change energy into a force of creation. We can learn great things from the crow, but even greater things from ourselves. If you can will it, it can happen. You have called upon the crow to manifest boundless creative energy. Let it fill you, and then exhale it back into the world. When there's something in your life that you want, meditate on it. And if it doesn't already exist, create it. You will find that you naturally gravitate towards the path that will get you there. Now, what was the song that came through, right? The song that came through was Come With Me, which is your future self, the star card. Okay, the desire that you have, the the gut feeling that you have is a memory from your future self. It's messages that your future self is sending you, saying, come with me and you'll see a world. I'm seeing beyond your imagination. Let's see, beyond what it is, whatever you can imagine, what you can imagine, you are there. And when you imagine, the more there is to imagine. Right, let's go ahead and get the lyrics for that song, actually. This is the message from your future self. All right, it says, come with me, future self speaking to current version of self, or the octave in which, you know, we phase in and out of, let's say, when we forget ourselves. And it's saying, come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Reach out, touch what was once just in your imagination. Don't be shy. It's all right if you feel a little trepidation. Sometimes these things don't need explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look at them and view it. This is the thing. If you can visualize something and you can feel into that frame vibration, like you basically surf through the illusion of time. Because what does Thoth teach us in the Emerald Tablets? Well, time is just consciousness moving into a new event. So if you can enter into slots through time, feel into that frame vibration-y, think in that frame vibration-y, see it, you're living in that vibration already before you arrive on physical. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. Want to change your world? There's nothing to it. This is telling me it's way easier. This is crazy. This is like literally a message from your future self. Come with me and you'll be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And if you think about that movie was all about the golden ticket, right? The golden ticket. It's like you have been passed the golden ticket by your future self, and it's like, hey, look over here. Man, all right, let's get a little reading for this. I feel like this is the main message, but we'll go ahead and get a reading for this. What's your advice in the Cosmos Oracle? Did we even finish reading the star card or any of that? Your advice is solar zenith. So this talks about everything being in perfect alignment, seeing from the microcosm, which is a small limited filter of perception, and then allowing yourself to go beyond that into the macrocosm. Seeing this moment as simply that, a moment to the eternal being, a temporal moment that you're experiencing. Okay, the veil speaks about almost invisible. You feel a light veil cascading down your being. It talks about reassurance, right? The veil is a gentle reminder that hope is something invisible. This card is a beacon. Hope is arriving, or it's soon on the way. The thing is, there's a frequency gap when we don't do the things that this version of self would do. You have to literally become that version of self. Instead of being seated here behind the swords, you have to apply yourself in the physical realm as that version of self would. What would that version of self think? How would they feel? What would they apply themselves to? That's what I'm seeing. It's like messages from this parallel version of you. And that requires faith, right? Faith is a verb, not a noun. Faith requires action and follow through. So faith not tested is no faith at all. Faith is to be sure of what it is that you want and certain of the things that you cannot see yet. The things that you can foresee with your mind and your imagination being a preview of life's upcomings. If you can see in mind, it can translate into matter. You'll be surprised by how drastically things can go from dark to light, like a comet blazing across the night sky. Let yourself feel hopeful, and your faith in the future will surely return. Look for small joys and remember the brightness of the sun and the magic of the stars. Hope can come in many forms and can feel as easy as flipping a switch. It's simply by choosing. It reminds me of this quantum rewind meditation. So we're going to go ahead and actually close out with this meditation real quick. So you're being invited to close your eyes during this moment and just be in your body and feel your consciousness expanding 20 years from now in the future. And 20 years from now, you're living a life that feels heavy. You're in a job that drains you. A relationship that no longer aligns. It's a version of you that forgot what it feels like to be fully alive. And allow yourself to feel it deeply, but not to suffer, but instead just to recognize where your life has ended up. Where you found yourself it's a timeline. It's not a finite destiny. Now see it. A moment appears and you find yourself in a choice point, a realization. And in that exact moment, you wake up. Time begins to rewind, faster and faster, until the years collapse in on themselves, until you arrive back here, right now, in your body. But this time, you kept the wisdom. You feel the shift, and you know what leads to that life. You know what to choose differently. And ask yourself, what do I no longer tolerate in my life? What do I finally choose? And who do I become starting today? Take a deep breath in, because this moment is where the timeline changes. You've just gone back in time 20 years, and you get to do things again, but differently. You can lucidly guide your life in your chosen direction. So, I'm gonna love and leave you right there. This is very much a magician. Like what you just did was pretty much observe the Eight of Swords version of self. Now, what does it look like to observe the Star card? I invite you to do that in your own time. And it's something that you can collapse instantaneously. Gratitude will respond and follow. Of course, it takes time. This is a dimension in which we experience that lag time, which is the distance between those two events, so we can experience the journey. But there is beauty in that unfoldment and the journey itself. So that's your message for today, my love. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm gonna love and leave you right there, though. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. And check out Otter Spirit if you're looking for some high quality AAA grade gemstones. One of the proceeds are donated towards otter sanctuaries. And until next time, bye.
Clouds in the sky. We're dancing.